Midfield, Fred's playing for Manchester United. Fred, anyone who tells me Fred is good enough for Manchester United, I've said it, is living in cuckoo land.
McTominay's a young Michael Carrick. I tell you what, I'll eat my shoes, my jumper, my vest, my pants if he gets anywhere near a Premier League player. You can keep that comment. You can keep it. I hope he has a good Championship career, but he is not Premier League quality.
The transfer window is like an elevator you just walked into, and 2 seconds later you find yourself dying of gas poisoning. The asshole that just walked past you had just dropped an intercontinental ballistic missile in there and left you for dead. Now you hold on to your own breath, literally causing self-asphyxiation, which could lead to your demise. We've all been in that situation. Shit, sometimes we were the ones that deployed that ICBM in question. But one thing we can all agree on is the expectations we had going into that elevator and the situation we find ourselves in were in completely different ends of the expected elevator satisfaction spectrum, or the EESS for short. I know you are confused right now, like what is he talking about? Why did I make that analogy? Well, give me a second to explain myself. What I'm trying to say is that the transfer window often does not turn out the way you think it's going to go. At the end of every season, fans can agree on what their favorite club or clubs, for my nomadic fans out there, I see ya too. Anyway, at the end of every season, you know which areas your club needs to strengthen. The club itself knows which area they need to strengthen. And sometimes the clubs do successfully address those shortcomings. Just sometimes. But how many times has your favorite club entered and exited the transfer window without making a single signing that addresses its weaknesses? For the life of me, I can't figure out why clubs do that. And most of the time, it's the clubs with the biggest pool that are capable of this. If you are an Arsenal fan, you know what I'm talking about. If you are a Manchester United fan, no one is more frustrated than a Man U fan. Not even an OnlyFans subscriber is as down bad as you guys. I mean, what do these clubs not understand? To make things worse, when they don't address these problematic areas, karma teaches them a lesson in the most predictable way. There comes a time in the middle of the season when the squad is short and pulling certain players from their position wouldn't make any sense. What clubs end up doing is they take a youngster that's never played for the first team, stick him in that mess, and hope he turns out into a messiah. And then we find out that the young player isn't ready for this type of pressure, gets dropped, ostracized, then loaned out to gain experience. Sometimes this does work, don't get me wrong. We've seen young players get put into games they have no business being in, and they go crazy and become perennial starters. Think of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He was put in as an emergency option when Crystal Palace encountered an injury crisis before a game against Tottenham. Yeah, they lost that game, but he was great. The very next month, he ended up winning the Player of the Month for Crystal Palace and started to garner a lot of attention, which ultimately got him to United. But for everyone Bissaka, there are many young players who make a couple of appearances as an urgent option. The next thing you know, they are playing in a team we didn't even know existed. For example, and please don't crucify me just yet, but a recent example could be seen with Arsenal's very own Charlie Patino, who made his debut last season and even scored against Sunderland. He was 17 if I'm not mistaken. The next cup game we had, which was an FA Cup game, Arsenal had squad depth issues with Partey and Elneny going to the AFCON. Torreira, Ainsley and Chambers being loaned out, Arteta chose to give Charlie a start. And unsurprisingly, he got pushed around by Forrest. The pressure was just not what he was used to, as talented as he is. He's young, he's a baby. Unsurprisingly, that was also the last game we saw him play for Arsenal, even with Partey's injury for the rest of the season. That game was a setup, plain and simple, and now he got that stigma following him around. I won't be surprised if he's shipped out on a loan. I hope he doesn't. I say that because, let's just be honest for a second. When was the last time Arsenal brought back a young loanee and used him as an integral part of the lineup? If you know, then let me know down in the comment section, because I don't know. So we really need to have a conversation around this subject, because it can make or break a player. Now back to my smelly ass elevator analogy. Manchester United. Oh my god, bro, what is Manchester United doing? This is the worst ranked club in the world besides Barcelona. Manchester United are the guiltiest of this phenomenon, this flatulent nuclear elevator phenomenon. Manchester United spent years trying to make a midfield of McTominay and Fred and Pogba work. Years. One thing about relationships, if they don't work, they don't work. and you need to change. Change is good. Change is great. You know what's not great? Manchester United's midfield. I can't even tell you what their transfer strategy is. No one can tell you. They have been trying to sign De Jong for months, when the first thing they should be focused on is a no bullshit defensive midfielder. Get De Jong, absolutely. Get him if you can. But this is the Premier League. If you want to compete with Manchester City, who has Rodri in it, you need a comparable CDM. If you are gonna compete with Chelsea with N'Golo Kante in it, you are gonna need a comparable CDM. If you're gonna compete with Liverpool that has Fabinho, you are going to need a CDM. Arsenal with Partey, you are gonna need a CDM. Tottenham with Højbjerg, you are gonna need a CDM. If you are going to compete with Leicester, West Ham and Wolves with Ndidi, Declan Rice and Ruben Neves in it, you Manchester United are going to need a comparable CDM. Why is this concept so damn hard for this Manchester United board to understand? Even the teams at the local park understand the importance of a midfield. Fred is not a defensive midfielder. I don't know how you manage to convince yourself that he is. He isn't, and he will never be one. McTominay, I love his attitude. He's a solid guy. Keep him in the squad, absolutely. Just don't put him in as a DM. Just don't. And please stop pairing those two together. We've seen enough. Okay, now that I've raised my frustrations with Man U, I can't just end the video without throwing in some suggestions out there. I've looked into many potential midfielders outside of the Premier League as if it's cheaper, and one thing came to mind. The best thing Manchester United can do to help itself is to weaken those annoying ass teams lurking around the Europa League. No, I'm not talking about Arsenal. I'm talking about Wolves, West Ham and Leicester. Just go for it. Just go get one of their CDMs. If I was Man U, I'm throwing the kitchen sink at Neves. I would just give him Pogba's old wages just to sweeten the deal.
Shut up and take my money!
With Neves, you don't have to play both Fred and McTominay. You might not have to play either of them if you go and get De Jong. I'm just saying, the answer is right there. Just open your eyes, goddammit. Anyway, I'm out of here. Like if you agree, but if you don't, comment your grievances below and let's have a debate. Alright man, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Deuces.